Hey everyone, Ryan here, and today we're going to be going through my process on how to speed paint anything. I'm going to show you how I paint this squad of 3D printed Death Corps of Krieg models for Warhammer 40k. Say that 5 times fast. But I'm going to be showing you how and why I make each of my decisions so that you can apply these techniques and knowledge to any kind of miniature. Sometimes when you're painting a miniature, you want to go all out. You want to make it look as good as possible. But sometimes that's not what you really want or need either. Wait, why wouldn't you always want to go all out? Well, it depends. Let me give you some examples. Sometimes you just need to get some models painted quickly. There's no shame in that. Maybe you need to finish up a squad or two for a Warhammer 40k tournament. Maybe you're a dungeon master and you need a horde of enemies to throw at your players. Maybe you're like me and you're working on a new 5 Parsecs From Home campaign turn for a YouTube video. You want to finish recording the video and you've rolled up a new squad of enemies to fight. You've picked out which minis you'd like to use for them, but you don't have them painted yet. Okay, that last one might be too specific, but you get the idea. In each of these examples, we're short on one big thing: time. We have a deadline for when we need these miniatures ready. Sometimes we just need to paint a lot of models in a short amount of time. Let me know down in the comments if you've ever been in a time crunch to get some minis painted. For my 5 Parsecs From Home campaign, I really like to use painted miniatures when I can. But if you've been watching that series, you've probably noticed a lot of my minis aren't painted yet. That's actually what helped inspire this video. For my next campaign episode, I rolled up some new enemies, some cultists. I have these 3D printed Death Corps of Krieg models that I printed a while ago and just have never used or painted. I think they'll work great as my cultist enemies. I don't want to delay my next campaign episode, so I need to get these guys painted fast. That's where Army Painter speed paints come in. They are semi-transparent, which lets details underneath show through, which is why we've Zenithal primed our minis. Speed paints and other similar paints really benefit from the extra contrast that a Zenithal highlight gives our minis. I've got a tutorial on how I do my Zenithal highlighting up here. I only have the original speed paint starter set, not the newer 2.0 version that Army Painters released. So if you have the newer version, some of the paints and paint names may be a little different. It also means I'm fairly limited on color choices, so I want to make them count. Before we start painting, let's look at our models and get a game plan together. I like to group my minis up into squads or batches, painting several at once in an assembly line method. All of these miniatures share quite a few design features, which will make color coordinating the whole squad much easier. I like to block sections out and then group them together based on color. Planning out the colors I'm going to use and where they're going to go before I start painting really helps speed things up. The sections I'm going to divide these models up into is trench coats, leather and wood bits, pants, armor and weapons, and tiny details. These are the main details of these Krieg models, but any miniatures that you choose are going to have their own unique identifying features. The main reason I'm dividing them into these specific groups is that these groups are going to have similar colors, but the colors that I'm picking for each section aren't what's important. For your minis, you can choose any colors that you like because they're your minis. For the trench coats, I want to help them all feel like they're wearing the same uniform. I'm going to paint them all orc skin green. It's a nice big part of the model, so I don't really feel like I should use green anywhere else, or else it'll start just blending together. It won't look as visually interesting from a distance. I'm being fairly generous with the speed paint, but you don't just want to drench your entire model in it. I'm trying to only get it on the trench coats right now. If I get it on any of my other details, I'll have to come back and fix it later. I'm going to go through my whole squad before moving on to the next color. The models have several leather pouches, gloves, boots, and their guns look like they could have wooden stocks. I'm going to paint all of these details with hardened leather. Yes, this does mean that all of our leather and wood bits are going to be painted the same color, but that's okay, I promise. None of these details are the focus of the mini. They're just smaller, mostly unimportant details. Being a shade of brown is more important than each one being a different shade of brown, especially when we're speed painting. I want the pants to be a different color from the rest of the model, so I'm going to be painting them with pallid bone. This is a pretty muted color, so it won't stand out too much in my opinion. It'll let you notice that the pants aren't the same color as the trench coat and the belt and boots without blending in. The whole squad gets their pants painted before I move on to the next color. All of the armor and weapons, I feel, are made out of some sort of metal, but I don't feel like they should be particularly shiny. It's taken care of because they're soldiers, but I don't feel like these guys are out here polishing it every day. So we're going to paint all of these with Gravelord Gray instead of using some sort of metallic paint. This is a very neutral color, but I'm not really wanting their weapons and armor to stand out for most of the squad. Lastly, for the tiny details, I want the face to stand out a little bit. So I'm going to paint the lenses of their gas masks High Lord blue. This will help draw our eyes to it, that splash of color against the gray. Also on the leader character, he has some extra flare decoration that I'm going to paint Zealot yellow. A fitting paint name for these guys now that I think about it. I also have a special weapon character in here that's carrying a heavy flamethrower. I do want these to stand out a little bit since it's a special weapon. There's a hose running from the backpack to the back of the gun that I'm going to paint with some Fire Giant orange. And then a fuel tank underneath the gun that I'm going to paint with blood red. These colors should stand out quite a bit from the rest of the model and help distinguish this as a special model in the squad. Now that the minis are all painted, I need to work on their bases. I'm going to paint the entirety of their bases a nice flat brown, just acrylic brown. No speed paint for this part, just acrylic brown over the whole thing. The outer rim, the whole top, trying not to get any on the rest of the model. Now I'm going to use my base ready range that I got from Geek Gaming Scenics to basically coat the tops of all of their bases. I have a tutorial for that up here, and I'm not going to go into too much details here. I'm just going to spread some glue on there and then dip them into the base ready mix. Let them dry for a little bit and you're good to go. It's a really fast and easy method for adding details to the bases of a lot of your miniatures. So here we have our entire squad of Death Corps painted, and it only took us about an hour to paint everyone in the squad. I think they turned out pretty great in my opinion, without needing to spend a whole lot of time on them. So hopefully my thoughts on speed painting will help you out the next time you're needing to paint a group of minis in a reasonable amount of time. Don't forget to like and subscribe, it really means a lot. If you'd like to help support the channel in other ways, you can join right here on YouTube as a premium member, or you can join my Patreon. This helps me create more video content like this for you to watch and enjoy. I've also got a Discord community that you can join if you'd like. Links for everything down below. Thanks so much for watching. Now get out there and paint some minis.